With the nationwide coronavirus death toll topping 75,000 people, the economic impact is worsening. Continued layoffs and furloughs led to another 3 million plus people filing for unemployment last week, bringing the total to more than 33 million since shutdown started. That's 1 in 5 workers. Today, Neiman Marcus declared bankruptcy, the largest U.S. retailer to do so in the pandemic, although the company hopes to be back by the fall. Many other businesses have been turning to their insurance companies in hopes they'll cover the cost of damages resulting from shutdowns. But almost across the board, they've been denied. Among them is Legal Seafoods, which recently joined a federal lawsuit fighting back against those denials. CEO Roger Berkowitz joins me. Welcome, Roger. Good to see you.
Thank you, Emily. I'd like to say nice to be here, but under the circumstances, certainly not great.
Definitely. So just overall, we're going to talk about the meat industry in a little bit, but I'm curious about the fish industry. What's it like for the fishermen? What's it like for the wholesalers? What's it like for the distributors? What's it like for the restaurants that are supposed to be accumulating that fish? What's happening?
Well, I hate to use a metaphor, the perfect storm, but this is essentially what's happened. Most of the seafood in the United States, not just in the Boston and Massachusetts area, was consumed in restaurants, and so you take that out of the equation, and fish is really not being consumed. It is to some degree, a little bit, certainly in supermarkets and a little bit online, but the industry is hurting, and so we're working. One of the things that we're doing is working with Senator Bruce Tarr in his office, who's in charge of supply chain, because apparently there's some legislation that allows for the state to really intervene and purchase seafood and beef and other items that are produced or harvested in the state. So that's one avenue of potential help.
Can't you put out one of your famous Roger Berkowitz advertisements about the benefits of omega-3 or something and get people should be eating more fish anyway?
They should be. It's brain food. It might get us going faster.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about the lawsuit. You signed a new contract with your insurance company, Strathmore, March 1st. By then, the pandemic had already hit China. It was well on its way here. But there was no exclusion in your policy, as you tell it, that said that if a pandemic hit, that it just wasn't there. There wasn't part of the equation in your in your policy. So why won't they pay?
So it's interesting. In the restaurant business, any labor-intensive business, any cash flow business really needs business interruption insurance, because as soon as something stops and it's catastrophic, you got to get up and going again. And oftentimes it's business interruption insurance that is the bridge that allows you to do that. So we've always been fanatical about having enough business interruption insurance. As it turns out, our policy was over. We started with a new company, Strathmore. We negotiated it. It was an all-risk policy, and it went into effect March 1st. And of course, by that time, everybody knew about the pandemic and knew about COVID-19. So this wasn't a shock to anybody. It was never excluded in the policy. So we got the shutdowns as everyone else did. And we submitted the claim, and it was denied. And we thought, well, maybe it was us. Maybe we didn't read it appropriately. So we got it sent out to insurance experts to interpret, did we miss something? And they said, no, you didn't miss something. And actually, out of the many, many claims that they've seen, this is one that actually should go through.
But on what basis are they denying you? They don't want to pay it. Well, that's true with any insurance claim.
Something that they talk about physical, harm, and there is case law that's saying that COVID is actually it can physically damage your premises with virus surfaces, etc. So we resubmitted with our explanation, and 3 days later denied again without any investigation. So it seemed to us that the insurance companies were kind of circling the wagons and saying, hey, we're not going to allow any of this to go through. So at that point, we said, no, this is because there was no exclusion and because it was issued after the pandemic was out there, they either should have known or didn't think it was enough of a risk. So on that basis, we think that they should honor the claim. We filed in federal court.
Were you hoping to be able to share the proceeds of that claim with your employees? And now you're one of
absolutely.
few restaurants. Go ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, again, what is business interruption insurance meant for? It's for your employees. It's for your vendors. It's for landlords. It's for everything. So that is cash flow that we lost as a result of COVID. They absolutely will be shared amongst.
What has been happening with your employees? What have you been doing for them in the short term?
So they have been furloughed. 3,100 people have been furloughed. We have been paying the health insurance for it, and the idea is we're hopeful of getting back sooner rather than later. Of course, you don't know, and it's not something that we're on the front line saying, hey, let's get in there sooner rather than later, because if it's not safe, then we shouldn't be doing it. So we really want to make sure that the number of cases go down and it's perfectly safe for people to go out again.
Now, Legal is one restaurant that decided not to go the curbside routine. How come?
Right. Well, we never did a lot of takeout business. It's always a very small part of what we did. And even if we had opened, for curbside, would it have doubled our takeout percentages? Maybe it would have gone from 5 to 10%. The reality is, in sit-down restaurants, you do not make money unless you're at 85% capacity. So if you were somewhere, unless, of course, you were a sort of a quick serve business that did 50% of your business prior to in takeout. But if you're a sit-down restaurant, it really doesn't make sense to do it. So number one, it economically never would have made sense. The other thing is, and we always err on the side of caution when it comes to our employees, that we did not understand how it got transmitted, how the disease got transmitted. And the reality is, at that particular point when we made the decision, there was no such thing as social distancing, and it didn't really exist in restaurants. So we didn't want to put anyone at risk.
All right. Roger Berkowitz, good luck with that loss. I think you got everybody in the city of Boston and up and down the East Coast on your side on that one.
Thank you.
Hope you get that.